Okay, we are live. Hello, hello, everybody. It is Barbara Harris with CNB Entertainment and a purse for every occasion. Welcome, welcome. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in because we have a special guest who is getting ready to come on. And I'm going to let her introduce herself, but she's a good friend of mine. I've known her for years, and I know that she's going to be a blessing to somebody out there today. So I'm asking you to take a minute and share this video, share it with somebody who you think may be interested in listening on today. You ready? Here we go. Let me bring her in. Hey, Yvette, how
Hello.
you doing?
I am well. How are you?
Doing good, doing good, doing good. Would you like to introduce yourself, darling?
Yes, I am Bertha Yvette Myers. I go by both. Some people know me by Bertha, some know me by Yvette. That's all me. I am a
Yeah.
licensed
Okay,
counselor.
we are
I
sorry.
work for myself. And I work for different platforms. My website is www.betterdecisionsbetterhealth.com.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, what is our topic today, darling?
Today we're talking about boundaries, the things that we
Ooh, boundaries.
really set in place, but
Okay.
they can derail relationships.
Okay. Boundaries. So boundaries dealing with relationships.
And relationships, I'm going to say this often, but relationships that I'm talking about in regards to boundaries is synonymous with anybody standing in front of you. I don't want you to walk away thinking that I'm only talking about relationships of an intimate relationship or a partner. Boundaries need to be established with anybody that you are in a relationship with, and that's anybody standing in front of you, your boss, your sister, brother, cousin, anybody. And all of these tools that I'm about to give you can be applied to all of those areas.
Great. Thank you. Well, I'm going to step back and let you take it, darling.
Awesome. All right, y'all. So let's get started. Again, like I said, I'm B. Vet Myers. I'm a licensed counselor in the state of South Carolina. My website is www.betterdecisionsbetterhealth.com. You can come on there anytime if you need a counselor. I encourage you, even if you don't come see me, come go see somebody. Now, what I'm talking about today is boundaries, how they can derail our lives. The first thing that I like to do is when I'm talking about any subject is to provide definitions. The problem happens when many times when we are in something and we walk into a situation and I have a definition and you have a definition and our definitions are different, which causes chaos. So let me tell you how dysfunctional a relationship can start off by not having clear, not being clear on your definitions. Imagine my left hand and my right hand says that they want to be in a relationship. My left hand says, I love you. My right hand says, I love you. They hook up, they get together, they get married, and they run off into life. Now, when my left hand says, I love you, what that means is I'll make all the decisions that I make. I will include you. I'll never do anything to make you doubt this relationship. Every time I wake up and go to sleep, you will be inclusive in my thoughts, my life, and everything. And I'll never do anything, like I said previously, to make you doubt how I feel about you or that I'm not committed to this relationship. That's what my left hand means. My right hand says, I love you. And what my right hand means is I get a warm and fuzzy feeling every time I think about you. I get butterflies in my stomach. I can't think clearly. And that's how I feel when we're together. Y'all get together, y'all run off into life. A week down the road, 2 weeks, 6 months, a year, they realize that they start to pull apart and they don't understand why. My left hand is looking at my right hand saying, I don't understand why you're not respecting the relationship. I don't understand why you're flirting, why you're doing this and why you're doing that. And the right hand says, I never stopped loving you. I still get that warm and fuzzy feeling. And that's because our definitions weren't the same. And we like to think that because we look alike or we talk alike or we come from the same neighborhoods that our definitions are the same. And that's the first mistake in regarding to boundaries, is not being clear on what it is that you expect. So in regards to definitions, boundaries is in regards to what I was saying is just a line, that an area that I will not cross. That's something that I will not cross, and I will not allow myself to be put in a position where I have to accept someone else crossing a line. That is where you enforce every area of your life. That's not to say you're standing out with a pitchfork and you're saying, nobody will cross this line. That's not what we're saying. Um, This, and it's not a robotic stance. It's just saying that this is what I will not do. When I was getting my master's in business, the first day of class, the first thing that the teacher said, the instructor said, that I take with me in every situation that I have is, in anything that you enter, have an exit strategy. Now, when I say that to couples, they say, wait, are you telling us that we should prepare to leave a relationship? I'm not saying that. What I am saying, that if you were to flip that into regards to what I'm talking about today, it would be boundaries. Make sure that there is something that you will not tolerate. And the moment that you don't have boundaries, this is how it works. You don't have boundaries in any relationship. What happens is you find yourself pushing the line back further and further. Something happens and then you go, well, everybody's human, nobody's perfect. This is this and this is this, and so we can't really hold anybody to perfection. I love people. I used to envy y'all, but I love people that says you only have one time to break my heart. And I'm not saying for you to walk away with that thought. You do what fits you. But I love people that stand on their foothold. It's never too late to set boundaries. I got an outline here, so if you see me looking down, I'm not trying to ignore you guys. I got an outline here that I want to stay on focus. It's not too late to set boundaries. It's not too late. 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, even 20 years in a relationship. It's not too late to set boundaries. You just have to have a come to Jesus meeting. Like, look, we need to talk. This is a tidbit that I give couples when I counsel couples. I encourage you to, at the week of your anniversary, not the day, but the week, to revisit your the benefit. I mean, the things that are working and the things that aren't working within the relationship. Review your goals, for your long-term and your short-term goals within your relationship. I encourage couples to do that the week of their relationship. Today, you're supposed to celebrate, but the week of your relationship is almost like, in every job that we do, we have feedback, except relationships. Except, even if you pull your sister or your cousin or someone to the side and say, hey, let's talk about how this last year is gone. That sounds robotic and that sounds comical, but relationships, everything that we do, we spend time improving it. Many times, except relationships, we spend so much time taking the next step to get better in our jobs, and even in our car, we do maintenance on it periodically. But when it comes to relationships, we find a way to not revisit how the relationship is going, and that's what I encourage you to do. The first thing that I tell everybody is you're responsible for you. If your needs are not being met, then that's your fault. Yeah, I said that. If your needs are not being met, that's your fault. It's four types of ways that we communicate. And all of this is regarding boundaries. We communicate passively, aggressively, assertively, and then passive aggressively. Now, let me tell you how those four communication styles work. When someone communicates passively, they say yes all the time. They hope that by them saying yes, then whoever and partner is synonymous with anybody in front of them. They hope that by them saying yes, that their partner will say yes. So what do you want? Whatever you want, like on Coming to America. What do you want to eat? Whatever you want to eat. Where do you want to go for vacation? Wherever you want to go. Their hopes are that if they say yes all the time, then their partner, synonymous with anyone in front of them, will say yes at some point. That never happens. And when it doesn't happen, they get upset. They get frustrated and they say, this relationship isn't working. You're selfish. You don't think about me. And then what's happening is the person that says yes all the time is not making sure that their needs are met. And the person that's taking yes all the time is making sure that their needs are met. When you move from passive, you go straight to aggressive. Aggressive is when you get to the point where you don't care anymore. If your needs aren't being met, then what do you want for dinner? I'm fixing spaghetti. If you don't want spaghetti, you don't eat. That's aggressive person. They usually say things like, what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong, until they are in the middle. They usually say it's like my way or the highway. If you don't want to be here, then leave. That's an aggressive communicator. That's an aggressive stance. They stand in it because they feel that if they don't take care of their needs, that they won't be met. True. But when you go to assertive, you understand that sometimes you have to compromise. Assertive communicator and assertive stance would say, I like I hear what you're saying. I hear what I'm saying. You want spaghetti. I want lasagna. Let's go to an Italian restaurant. That's how assertive person stands. They think about the needs of their partner, synonymous with anyone in front of them. They think about their needs, and then they make a decision based on trying to incorporate both of those needs. When you are assertive and you cannot incorporate the person's needs in front of you, you will always make sure that your needs are met. Because, go back to something I said earlier, you are responsible for your needs being met. If your needs aren't being met, then that's your fault. So assertive communication will always think about their needs. Now, that is not the same as being selfish. Selfish when you only think about your needs, and that goes back to aggressive. But assertive means that you will attempt to incorporate the needs of your partner, synonymous with anyone in front of you and yourself, and then make a decision based on that. And the last one is passive aggressive. The passive aggressive is when you say horrible things and then smile or throw shade, or say, I was just joking, it wasn't that serious, lighten up. Passive aggressive is someone that's angry but haven't taken the won't take the stance of being angry, so they try to slide passivity at the conversation. Those are the ways that we communicate. Those are the ways how boundaries, when boundaries aren't being met or aren't being addressed, then that's how we start to communicate. It is always, listen to me, I'm gonna say it one more time, always ideal to communicate assertively. It's never in a good space to communicate in any other language but assertive. Because when you choose to change your style of communication based on who's in front of you, what you do is people that you have the upper hand with, you tend to be more aggressive, usually family, and people that you don't have the upper hand with, you tend to be more passive, usually somebody at work. That sets you up by definition as being a bully. I said that often, and I will say it continuously. You are responsible for yourself. How having no boundaries affects you mentally. Our self-worth is damaged. When you start to let people come back closer to you, you realize that they've all actually came so close to you that they're through you and they're on the other side of you. And so now you start to think that they don't think that you're worth anything, which is worse than what they actually think. So your self-worth is damaged. You start to look at yourself as less than, because you walk away angry with yourself because you allowed something to happen and you didn't check it. You didn't say anything. You allowed it to happen continuously, or somebody to treat you a certain way, and you don't say or do anything about it. You question if you're good enough for a relationship. That comes with when you have deteriorating self-worth. Your self-worth is damaged. When your self-worth is damaged, it prevents you from moving forward into your destiny. You stay mediocre. You stay level. You're just like, you know what? This is all that's going to be me. You become uncomfortable when someone moves beyond you. How dare they have the audacity to not confront their fears and to not allow others to treat them poorly. We start to feel like some type of way about people that stand in their own resilience. I said that earlier. I used to envy people that said, I will not allow anyone to mistreat me. You only have one chance. And if you mess up that one chance, I'm out. I used to think, well, what the hell going on? Hey, you perfect? So why would you hold somebody else to being perfect? My definition of perfect has changed. This is a commercial. I'm going to throw this in for you. This part free. Perfection is a continuous motion towards perfect. Imagine a ruler. Here is 0 and here is perfect, all the way out into oblivion. Every moment in that space is perfect because every moment can be captured. As long as you're moving towards perfection, every single moment is perfect. So don't let nobody tell you that you're not perfect. As long as you're moving towards perfection, Every moment in that headed towards perfection is perfect. When you turn around and you're not headed to be a better person spiritually, mentally, emotionally, whatever your spirituality is, that's when you're not perfect. But every moment headed towards perfection is perfect. um those around you begin to accept you in terms of what you have set for yourself. If you start to see yourself as less than, then people around you start to treat you as less than. Then you become angry. It's like, how dare you treat me like I treat myself? It's like, how dare they not? Change, as over time, change becomes difficult. It becomes difficult for you to step outside of your boundaries. But all it takes is a decision. All it takes for you to do is wake up one day and say, I will develop the best version of me. I will walk in the best version of me. One thing that I like to tell people to do is develop a mantra. Develop a mantra, something that you will say to yourself daily, something that to remind yourself either in what you do daily or how you behave daily. I don't share my mantra with many people, but I am going to share it with you. Shh, don't tell nobody. My mantra, and I have it sitting here on my wall. You can't see it, so I'm looking here to read it. I have not memorized it because I developed it at the beginning of the year, and I say it daily. I am a woman created of peace, influence, alertness, understanding, and power. My ancestors speak through me. I am patient. I am sagacious. I hear the voice of my inner man. I am a woman. Something that simple. That's my mantra. I say it to myself before clients. I have clients throughout my day, and I say it to myself to almost recenter, or to almost get myself back to a space. Thanks, Tia. To get myself back to a grounded space, to say, okay, get back to a space where I am in a good space so that I can talk to someone else. Thanks, Ingrid. I also, let's get back to this because my time is halfway up. Fear becomes when boundaries aren't set, fear becomes overpowering. We self-sabotage. We teach safety instead of challenge under the guise of being optimistic. We stop challenging ourselves. You start to exist instead of living. You attract people that walk in the same fear. You attract people that don't have boundaries, that kind of go about thinking that because nobody is perfect, we done bought into that lie, that nobody is perfect, that I have to accept mediocre. And if someone is trying, if they're doing their best, and I know they did this and I don't like this, but if they do it and they say they're sorry, then I have to accept it. Crap. That's bull. Bleep, bleep, bleep. That's crap. No. You set your boundaries. And boundaries are the things that you say to yourself. You don't have to just proclaim them from the mountaintops. I have boundaries and nobody's going to cross my boundaries. That's not what boundaries are. Boundaries are those inner thoughts, those inner things that strengthen you inwardly, that you say, this is how I will conduct myself. Not only will I hold others to my boundaries, I will hold myself to my boundaries. I will not allow myself to be taken advantage of. I will not allow myself to be put in a position where I have to question my own sanity. Those are boundaries. What I want to introduce something to y'all, and it's coming. I have the mascot, so stay tuned. I want to introduce to y'all something that I call the Wasi Wasi scale. The Wasi Wasi scale is something that it's Wasi Wasi is Swahili for anxiety. Basically, how the Wasi Wasi scale is go, the Wasi, WASI, that's one word. The Wasi Wasi scale is an anxiety. It's Swahili. Wasi Wasi is Swahili for anxiety. What that means is that's a scale from 0 to 10. You go to my YouTube page. I have done a commercial, but I haven't edited it and I haven't put it out. My YouTube page is Better Health 23 or Better Decisions, Better Health. So the Wasi Wasi scale is from 0 to 10. 0 is everything is good. That's one word. Remove that comma. The Wasi Wasi scale is from 0 to 10. 0 is everything is good. Imagine you're sitting on a park. Your feet is in the water. The water's 80 degrees. Dogs are chasing butterflies. Children are laughing far off in the distance, just enough to give you a gut chuckle, because there's nothing more pleasurable to me than hearing children laugh. And you're sitting there and you're just enjoying your day. A 10 is a mental apocalypse. Anything that could possibly go wrong goes wrong. If anything that the worst day that you've ever had, times a million, affinity. So, how does the Wasi Wasi scale work? From 0 to 6 is that you keep yourself so that you can respond to any environment, any person, place, or thing. This is where you can say that I can honestly and consciously respond to whatever comes my way. 7, 8, 9, and 10 is, y'all remember science when they talked about fight, flight, or freeze? That's where you are in 7, 8, 9, or 10. You start to get scatterbrain. You get butterflies in your stomach. Your hands start sweating. You start fidgeting. You can't think straight. That's when you're in a higher anxiety scale. Your wasi wasi is high. So what happens there? You take everything as a threat, no matter what's being said. It comes across as a threat because your anxiety is high. The goal is to keep yourself between 0 and 6. Bertha, Yvette, how do you keep myself between 0 and 6? I'm glad you asked. When you're in the higher anxiety scale, what happens is oxygen that is needed, that you need to think, is moved from your brain. It's not out completely out of your brain, but it moves. You have less oxygen to think, and you have more oxygen in your muscles, so that you can fight, flight, or freeze. So that if you have to get out of a sticky situation, you will be okay. So because of that, you have more oxygen in your limbs, in your muscles, so that you can get away if it's an emergency. When you stop and take a deep breath, it lowers your heart rate. It allows you to think clearly. And then you can identify, is this somebody that's actually attacking me, or am I just tripping? Is this a real threat, or is this a perceived threat? What does this have to do with boundaries? Because how you internalize it is how things will happen, or how things will begin to unfold. Many times things don't happen because you think they should happen, or because they're what am I trying to say? Things don't happen because they're actually happening in that order. It's a misinterpretation of what you think the other person meant, and you respond based on what you think they meant, and then they respond based on what they think they thought you meant, and then you go 3 or 4 3 or 4 paces in front of the conversation, and you guys are at a space where you're actually fighting, and then there's no communication. All regarding boundaries. Before I end, let me talk about healthy boundaries. Before I talk about healthy boundaries, let me say this. Boundaries are not things that you need to proclaim. Nobody has to know about them. It's just things that you establish within yourself, that you say to yourself, I'm not going to put myself in a position where I allow anyone to take advantage of me, and take advantage of you is synonymous with anyone being in a space where you feel uncomfortable. You are responsible for yourself. If anything is happening in your environment and you are not taking care of it, then that's your fault. Everybody over 25, I like to give it to 25, because sometimes, you think you're grown under 25, but you're not really grown. Once you get over 25, that's your responsibility to start to put your life together. You people can do it before that. That's just something that Yvette say. 25. You at 25 and older, that's your responsibility. You need to get it together. Healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries is things that we set when we establish our time, our emotions, our values, and our space. I think of boundaries as, remember in science, when we talked about the nucleus of the cell, and then the cell membrane and all the stuff that's in between. Who gets your time? Who's making unreasonable demands? Who are you babysitting that can be taking care of themselves? Babysitting is not necessarily watching somebody's child, but a grown person that you're babysitting, because either they don't have confidence in you to, or they don't think that you are, being faithful or whatever. I don't know. I'm not going to go into that part of it. But who are you babysitting that can be taking care of themselves? Sometimes our need to be needed allow us to remove boundaries because we just need to be needed. We need someone to need us. And so we open ourselves up to be put in different positions that aggravate the crap out of us. When it comes to emotions, there are two core emotions, love and hate. Love and fear. I'm sorry. Two core emotions, love and fear. Everything that you feel is coming out of those two core emotions, love and fear. Whatever you're feeling, ask yourself, am I being loved? Do I feel loved? If it is, embrace it. If it's fear, you got to ask yourself, why? What am I afraid of? And being honest with yourself. All emotions come out of that. Embrace love, back out of fear. Who's in your life that's thoughtless? Who's in your life? Who's in your inner circle? Who's in your nucleus that have no regard for your time or your emotions? And the next one is values. What are they? What are your core values? When we don't have core values, we can't establish boundaries. There's no way. It's like having a body without a heart. What are your core values? How do you balance those with who's in front of you? You have a core value of, let's say, I don't know, I can't think of anything. But how do you balance with those in front of you? How do you balance your core values with if someone's in front of you that's really close to you and they have a different core value? How do you establish boundaries? You establish boundaries by saying, you know what, this is what I'm not going to talk about. I have people in my family that we have opposing views on politics. And so one of my boundaries is I don't even get in conversation with them because I know that it's not going to end well. So I just avoid the conversation. Yvette, what do you think? I don't, because I know that our positions are so strong. And I like to think that my arguments position is out of knowledge and not emotions. I know that they can get crossed. And here's another thing that's free. Anytime you're arguing with someone and you're arguing or you're debating out of knowledge and they're debating out of emotion, stop. You will never see eye to eye. Emotions and knowledge cannot cohabitate. And the last one is maintain your beliefs, and they have a right to maintain theirs. But in regards to me and this, and people that we have opposing views, I refuse to conversate with you. I just don't. I'm just not going to do it because I know that we're going to end up arguing. I know that we're going to end up in a strong debate. Should I say that? Space is the last thing. Who occupies your space? How do you control who occupies your space? Who's in your circle that you don't want or that you don't respect? Who's in your circle that don't respect you? And you know they don't respect you. That's different from someone that don't like you, because I cannot like you but still respect you. That's a boundary that I think many of us think that, we've bought into that, keep our enemies close, keep our friends close and our enemies closer. I agree. But if someone blatantly does not respect you, that damages your self-worth. That damages who you are. And if you tell me that you don't, then you're the outlier. You're the person that I'm not talking to. Because at some point, you're going to start to question your own self. Why would you self-sabotage like that? Why would you keep somebody that close to you that don't respect you? Because every chance that they get, they're going to throw shade. They're going to say something that's going to damage your core. It's your responsibility to get people away from you like that. And the last thing that I want to talk about when it comes to space is you should have a measure of privacy. There are some things in your life that just should not be told. Social media has spoiled a lot of people where they think that everything has to be told. That's what I want to talk about with boundaries. I hope. Do you feel parents should set boundaries? Absolutely. Absolutely. I remember growing up when we didn't go in my mom's bedroom, y'all. It's like, oh no, we did not go in my mom's bedroom. That was off limits. I don't care if the door was open and she wasn't home. We did not go in my mom's bedroom. Now that might not work for you because kids today jumped in their parents' bed. We ain't gonna even talk about going in my mom's bedroom with and jumping in her bed with outside clothes on. Oh, you about to get drugged. So yes, parents should set boundaries. Boundaries, keep not allowing people to place their transgressions on me. One of my top core values. Awesome. Awesome, Felicia. But keep this in mind. There's a difference between setting boundaries and then allowing or going under the guise that I want to keep my children informed. I want to keep them, to allow them to be a part of the grown-up experience. Now, keep in mind that they're still children. I use this analogy and then I'm going to end. Imagine that every year that we grow up, that we age, you remember, when you go to the optometrist and they put the thing on your face and they say, can you see now? Can you see now? A or B, A or B. Imagine every year that you grow up and you get another lens. Every year that you grow up, every year that you age, you get another lens. Through that lens, you can see clear. Now think about how accurate this is, because think about what you saw at 16 and think about what you see now. Think about how you saw life at 16 and think about how you see life now. And that's with every year you get a lens. Now, as you see through those lenses, you can see clearer, and then your peripheral opens up. So not only can you see clearer, you can see wider to your size. So no matter what a 5-year-old child has been through, no matter how tumultuous, I think I said that word right, their life has been, they still only have 5 lenses. So when you tell kids they're so grown, or that they are smarter than the average child, even if they're 12 and they've had a really horrible life, they still only have 12 lenses. They still only have, so there are things that they're not going to be able to see. So when you put children in positions positions where they can't, or they can't see sideways or see their peripheral, you're setting them up for failure. They're still only children. I'm going to end there, y'all, because I could talk all day. My name is Bertha Myers. Bertha Yvette Myers. Some call me Bertha, some call me Yvette. All depends on how I know you. If you call me Yvette, then we friends. If you call me Bertha, then I don't know you that well. No, I'm just kidding. I want to thank you. Thank you. One thing that I appreciate in anything that I do is when someone gives me their time. That's the most valuable thing that you have. And if you gave me your time today, I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, Yvette. We really appreciate it. And we're looking forward to seeing you next month. For those who don't know, Yvette will be on every month. This month it was on boundaries. What do we have next week? Next month, Yvette?
Next month is common mistakes that we make within a relationship.
Okay. And when you're talking about relationship common mistakes, are you talking about like just husband and wife, or just in general?
Every topic that I have is synonymous. When I say relationship, I say that's synonymous with anybody standing in front of you, co-worker, family, cousin, uncle, everybody and you can see the common mistakes that we make with anybody that's standing in front of us.
Yeah. So, well, we're looking forward to it. Stay tuned, everyone, for next month. She will be coming on every month. So February is common mistakes that we make within a relationship. The cost is only $5 for you guys to sign up and get your ticket to hear Yvette, see what she has to say, and also be able to, talk to her. She has posted her information, but I will post it again down below, her website that you can go to. She is a licensed, and I repeat, licensed counselor, not somebody we just got off the street now. Okay. I've known her for several years. I appreciate all that she does. Thank you, Yvette, for tuning in. Everyone, you take care of yourself and get your tickets for the next one.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Yvette. That was great. It was great. We learned a lot, and hopefully we'll apply it and use it.
All right, cool.
All right. Take care of yourself, lady.